that means exactly, but hey.
No, you don't pay attention. Because
oh, yeah.
week, Amelia said she was older than dirt, and she's like 5 years younger than me. That makes me dirt.
Nice.
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking
about. Oh, she got it immediately.
Nice. Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and set the room and just say thank you, Jake and David Meltzer, for another great hour as usual. And thank you, everyone that's here. And we thank you for being here every Friday. And, of course, we are here with the new and improved Amelia and Randy show. And today, Randy with his signs. By the way, if you want to join us, feel free to join us. We are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can watch us live. And right now, Randy's putting up a sign saying #FlavorOfMen. Okay, Randy. Good. So
that's for me.
Well, I know it is, but he's flashing it. I figured I'd highlight that. That's funny.
I am not flashing. Do not falsely promote this show. I'm flashing the sign.
He's flashing a sign. He's not wearing a raincoat, I swear. So welcome to another episode of New and Improved Amelia and Randy show. Today, the topic at hand is obsession. And what is your obsession? So before we tear into it, I just want to welcome everyone and thank you for being here, and welcome everyone to share this room. Make sure if you're on Clubhouse, make sure you click on that little box at the bottom of the screen with the arrow. Let's show this room to all of your followers on Clubhouse, because Clubhouse, of course, as we've been talking about all morning, has been glitching, and it's very difficult to find Breakfast with Champions room. So encourage you to share this room, and of course to ping people in individually. Just ping people in until you can't anymore, and then 5 minutes later you're able to do it again. Invite your friends, invite people that you know could and should be here today and every day. So make sure that you're helping us get to more people, because that's how we're going to change the world. So, and that's what we're here to do each and every Friday. So we are talking about obsession. Share this room. By the way, share this video if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and make sure that you're following Randy. Make sure that you're following Amelia, and by all means, you can follow Get Up and Grow and follow me as well. Ping people in. That's the message of the day, and let's tear into it. What is your obsession, Amelia?
I am so ready for this. It's not even funny. First, I want to do a shout out to Marvin. I haven't seen him in a while. Hello from my other side of the pond. One of my favorite people to come and listen to this morning. So welcome. So glad you're here on Clubhouse. I'm glad everybody's here. Okay, so Randy, what's your obsession? Because I'm dying.
It's a weird two-part thing. Okay, so the first part actually is really cool news, and I believe Tara left the link with somebody, and hopefully Dora Maria or somebody has the link to put up. But I will say my book launches on the 23rd.
Yay!
Ruby launched on the 23rd. Amazon is running a special now. The ebook's 99 cents.
Oh, well, come on now. 99 cents.
99 cents. Now, Tara said she left the link with somebody to swap it out on there, but I'm not seeing the link go up yet, so I'm not sure. But I will share with you that if you search Ruby, right, Randall Kenneth Jones in Amazon, and you open that page, you will see the hardback for $24.95 or whatever, and you will see the 99-cent ebook, and a 99 is a vote for me to get me on a bestseller list. So I'm very happy to be able to share that. I'm thrilled about that. But
that is exciting.
It's
exciting.
It's crazy. Well, okay, so this actually leads to, this is almost self-promotional, but not, because this is where I'm going with this. So, as you know, I turned 60 on Tuesday. Tuesday. I'm 60 years old on Tuesday.
Wow.
Really?
No, I'm 60. I told you what's the sign? The sign is I am dirt. I'm older than dirt than dirt. I am 60 on Tuesday.
Wow. I'm loving
Happy New Year.
Yeah, well, but here's why I'm so good with it.
By the way, I just want to acknowledge that Grant has joined the show. Good morning, Grant. Sorry we missed you in the 9 o'clock hour, but I wanted to just shout you out. Good to see you.
Hello, Mr. Cardone. I just bought my ticket to Vegas.
Let's go. You're gonna have a blast.
I'm raring to go. So you guys, if you guys don't know, Vegas is, I think it's like 89% sold out. When I was in there yesterday for GrossCon in Vegas, Grant is finally going back to Vegas. We're all excited about that. But even though it's for Valentine's Day in February, the tickets are almost sold out.
I was going to say, when is it? I might have to join you guys on this one. I have not been.
Tony, you got it. This is going to be our best growth conference ever, man. The speakers are gonna freak you guys out. Like, we haven't listed one speaker. We just listed the location, and we're already almost sold out of the event, and without listing a speaker. So
That's fantastic.
Let me just tell you, Grant.
So-
I'm always.
tells me
So
we've been making
I
people
looked at
happy.
the website. I looked at the website yesterday. I was listening to you talk with. I think you were talking to Ben Stock, and you were talking to. I can't remember who you were talking to yesterday. And I just looked quickly at the website. Within seconds, one of your people called me. I texted her back, and I was like, "Listen, I'm on here listening until noon." She called me right at noon, and I bought my VIP ticket. I'm like, talk about systematized perfection in sales. You have that nailed, Grant. Nailed.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
And she was polite. She was knowledgeable. What a sweetheart. What a
Hey, I
sweetheart.
just came in to listen to you guys. I came in to learn from you guys.
Oh, well, we're talking about obsessions right now. We're talking about obsessions. Randy's book just dropped.
No. So I turned 60 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, season 5 of Jones Not Show, my podcast, which you will be on when your book drops.
Right behind you.
Well, I've got 22 people already committed for the season, which is crazy. I mean, my podcast blew up this year.
Hey, for the record, I'm writing my book too, Randy. So I certainly hope that you save me a slot.
I will save you a slot if I can fit you in by the. But no. So I have that going on. The Ruby drops now on the 23rd. And like I said, once again, search Amazon, Ruby by Randall Kenneth Jones. The link is not going up, but it is only 99 cents. But here's the problem. You know what I'm obsessed with?
What?
Me, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of me. And I say that not to get, no, I'm a marketing person. I love to promote Amilya. I love to promote everybody who does my show. Melissa Rivers is my first guest. Melissa Rivers wrote this great new book, Lies My Mother Told Me. It's hysterical. I love nothing more than talking to Melissa Rivers and promoting how great this
And
book
I talk about how Joan gave me such an amazing piece of advice. That woman was far smarter than people gave her credit for.
No. It came up on the show because Joan Rivers is actually mentioned by different people. Lucia Kaiser, who's been on this show with us, mentioned her. She's mentioned on my show all the time, and I shared that with Melissa. So I'm thrilled to be promoting Melissa. I'm thrilled to promote Amilya. I'm sick of me. I'm sick of putting my stuff out there. I'm sick of talking about me. I'm sick about talking about my book. And I can't believe I'm not alone. I don't think so many people here are building a platform.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. If they're here, they better be building a platform. 100%.
Right. Their self-promotion is, whether we like it or not, part of these platforms we're building. I'm not 100%, believe it or not 100% comfortable talking about me. Making fun of me, I'm all about that. Having fun with me and my antics and all my mistakes and all the stuff I do wrong, I love that. But other than that, I'm not 100% comfortable with it, and I'm overwhelmed by too much Randy. Now, my husband has been overwhelmed by this for 26 years. This is certainly not new.
We love Derek. We love Derek.
Yeah, I'll just say him, and he'll nod his head and go, well, yeah, welcome to my world. So that's seriously the issue. And I actually, since I don't think I'm alone, I wanted to ask you about that.
Well, again, as a behaviorist, I think you have to think about, what is it that's causing you not to want to celebrate you, right? We talk about the 5 people around you have the greatest impact and influence of where you are becoming, right? You cannot become something that is not being influenced in your immediate circle. And so if you're not excited to celebrate what it is that you are working on, right, because that's one of your passion projects, then do you not have people around you who are celebrating you? That would be question number 2. Second, the next question would be, what's underneath that? Is that a self-confidence thing? Is that it's a learned skill to be excited about what you're doing and to share that with others, because we've been patternized that most people would put us down, right? Most people would put us down, or who do you think you are, or whatever. We try to break away from those cycles and lean in with people that are better at self-promotion, because the work that you do is an impact on others. It's a gift. Right? You're sharing I wish somebody would have shared with me the things that I know in the behavioral tools when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm sharing it with others, I'm not sharing just because I'm like, Amilya. I'm sharing because I wish I knew. The segment at 9 o'clock where we were giving parenting tools as we lean into back to school and the shift that must happen after 12 years old. That's behavioral information that I wish somebody would have told me. I didn't have access to it. So I feel a sense of responsibility to share what it is that I've learned. And if it works for you, God bless. And if it doesn't, that's fine too.
I am celebrated within an inch of my life. As you know, I get compliments all day long, every day. My book got endorsed by Aaron Brockovich, by Janet Ivanovich, by Peggy Post and the Emily Post Institute. You know, I did that, but I don't have a problem with me. I'm proud of what I'm doing. I will say 60 is really easy for me because I've been saying for a long time there's no expiration date on your ability to create or add value, and I'm proving that, Amelia. My first fiction book was out a week after I turned 60.
Listen, 60's the beginning. It's age. Listen, I'm never stopping. I will all the way until you throw dirt on me. I am never stopping. I love what I do. I think I'll be doing it for a lifetime, and I am not going to stop, not ever. I don't care about what people say about age and all that other stuff. I think it's poppycock. I don't believe that at all.
And remember, I used to tell you I would never write fiction. Remember? I would tell you I would write fiction. Oh, no,
and
no.
I didn't believe you then.
Well, no.
I didn't believe you then.
I just think I'm happier. I'm proud. I love who's there for me. I'm so thrilled with the quality of the work. And I say this once again, I'm looking for other people in this room to see if they share or understand this feeling, because I'm trying to help other people by sharing. Always the goal. But I'm proud of it. I actually love sharing my stories and talking about what's going on, and I think it's amazing what's happening. But when it comes right down to it, I'd rather be pitching Amelia.
Randall,
Yeah.
It's Christina.
Hello,
What's
Christina.
the name of Hi. What's the name of your book, Randall? I caught the tail end. I'm trying to search for it for you, but I'm multitasking in the background.
You actually search on Amazon, Ruby Magic Comes from the Heart.
Ruby Magic Comes from the Heart. Okay.
Ruby Magic Comes from the Heart by Randall Kenneth Jones. And I'm on it right now, and it's on Amazon. And then if you click over, the hardcover, $24.95, and the Kindle's 99 cents.
I love it. So
Got
you
it.
want to know what I've been obsessing on this week, and I can't stop. Okay, so I'm going to do a huge shout out to Jessica Biel. If you don't know who she is, she's absolutely a lovely human. And she did a series called Sinner. And I am beyond obsessed. You want to talk about a thrilling, mind twisting, what is really happening? I don't know what's really happening. That will keep you glued episode by episode, season over season, of unwinding this saga. And the reason why I love it, because again, I'm always so interested in human behavior, is that she had a traumatic event in her childhood that has sneakily set the trajectory of her adulthood. And as it gives glimpses of what happened, she is struggling to try to figure this out. Now, for a lot of us that come from one of those joyous childhoods that we're trying to overcome, this actually happens. We get feelings and sensations that we remember something, but we don't really know what we remember, but it has influence over the decisions that we're making. And so there's something very disempowering when you feel like you're up against an energy or a force that is moving you like an internal compass, but you're not really sure what it is. Well, this entire series is unwinding the unknowing character and energy that shows up in her life that is moving her towards how her life is shaping, and she doesn't really know why. Very fascinating, so well done. And the character that she plays is absolutely brilliant. Because if you know her as a person and then see who she's playing in this character, she's miles away from her authentic, like, real self, and that shows you just her acting ability. But she is brilliant in this series, and it's called Sinner. It's on Netflix. It's one of those psychological thrillers, nothing gory about it, and it is absolutely fascinating. So that is where I have been this week, obsessing on my latest human behavior obsession. Anybody here watch Sinners? Am I the only one who's watched Sinners? Am I alone in this boat paddling by myself? Yes. No mic flashes. I'm the only one who's watched it. Well, anybody who's watched
I guess I've got to watch it now too.
Right? So if you're looking for something that's really, really just going to put your teeth into something, It is amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so, Randy, what is your number one thing that you are looking forward to in your 60th year? Out of everything that you have learned, what are you looking forward most as you enter and start this brand new year?
Okay. I have an answer. By the way, you all, we don't talk about this in advance, so we really don't. Didn't Regis and Kathy Lee? They never knew what the other one was going to talk about on the show. They actually go, we never know.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this question was coming. This sounds awful, but there's a reason for it. I'm looking forward to being right. No. And when I say that, because like I said, I'm turning 60. A lot of people, everybody I know, from my class or the class of 1980, we're all turning 60. Everybody is overwhelmed by that. I'm once again, I'm proving through the extraordinary within Jones Show, through the fact that people call me now to do the podcast, the fact that I've got this fiction book out that is being endorsed by people at 60, that in my 60th year, I'm doing brand new, wonderful things I never thought I could do or I never thought possible. What I'm looking forward to is inspiring other people, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, whatever, to continue to do the same thing. And I live in Naples.
Well, listen, Warren Buffett turned 92, I think last week or the week before. He turned 92, and he still goes to the office every day, right? So age is just whatever you believe. Now, I'm getting some things in the back chat saying some people can't hear us. Can you guys hear us on Clubhouse? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's helpful. So I don't know. I love when I have no idea. I'm stumped. I don't know what's happening. And so you want to be right for your 60th. How do you think that would show up for you?
How would that show up for me?
Yeah. Do you think like you're going to get people from your past that are going to go, hey, just want to let you know you were right? Derek is going to say, oh, you're right.
No.
Your puppy's going to say you're what? How is it going to show up?
From new people. I love new people. Yeah. I think the people are lovely to me, and I have so many people who support me from my family, from my hometown of Columbia, Missouri, from Naples, Florida, from the Washington, D.C. area, all the people I know. But I think that's going to show up in when Oprah calls me up and says, Randy, loved your book, that's going to be a very good day.
Listen, and that's one of my stories, right? Because when I got the call from Oprah, I hung up. I was like, I literally thought it was just one of my girlfriends, just playing around. I'm like, knock it off.
No, I called Stedman last week. I talked to Stedman last week.
I love him. You know what? He is such a gem. I've had the opportunity to work with him on a golf tournament, and let me tell you, what a powerful presence.
He's brilliant. He's so brilliant in his own right. But I called him last week, and I told him about the book, and he said, who's publishing it? And I said, Mark Victor Hansen. He went, oh, that's the real deal. I went, yeah, it is the real deal.
My buddy Mark and his beautiful wife Crystal. I love them both dearly. And their book is called Ask, which we featured on the show. Yep.
And their book, once again, I keep telling the story. At the end of my interview with Mark Victor Hansen from Chicken Soup to the Soul and my podcast, he asked me, are you interested in fiction? He did the ask. I said, yes, I've been working on something. I have 3 chapters done, and within a week we had a deal.
Yep, that's what happens. Always be ready. Always be ready.
Because I wouldn't have asked it. I would never have a guest on and say, what can you do for me? I would never get to the end of a show and ask a guest who I'm there to promote and make feel good. I'm very bad at, as you know, and asking other people for help and support and advice I'm pretty good at, but actually asking them to take action, that's not something that I'm good at, because I want to be the person, and they're trimming the bushes outside of my house. Because, of course, I called and said, please trim the bushes outside of my house at 11:21. That would be perfect timing.
We love those lights. But it's interesting because, a lot of the people that are inside Designing Genius, and as they go through that, what they're finding is they also struggle with the app, right?
It's very
hard practice.
The world for me. It's so hard.
And so the behavior tool on that, right, because I always love to give people the actual tactical, is to start, right, so if you break your day into 3 sections, the morning, the middle, and the end, is that you practice asking, right? So in your morning routine, as you set the intention from your day, then if your intention is, like, just say for me, vulnerability, right? Vulnerability is my word for the year. I cannot wait to pick the new one. So then what I do is I ask 3 times within the day something that leads back to vulnerability, right? And so practicing small asks and asking with people that you feel comfortable with, and then expanding that circle, right? So that you have a practice of asking, so that when you really come into a situation where there is a big ask, you're not uncomfortable. I've got Patricia who's here, we're frickin' frack. And I love the fact that she gets to get on so many calls with me and gets to hear my big kahunas, because I will reach way over the fence in big, bold acts where she's always going, what did you just do, Amilya? Because I've practiced small to do those acts. And you can't go and be ready for the big ask if you haven't practiced it. That's why I always saying, always be ready, always be ready. Going back to Oprah, when I accepted to be on the very first time I was on Oprah, and I was so nervous, right? Because I'm an introvert. I remind people all the time I'm an introvert. I would never leave my house if I never had to. I was like, I'll only do the show if I don't have to go on stage. And so she's like, well, what about if you stayed in the audience? And I'm like, that would be great. So it was me. The first show was me and Paula Dean, Julie from Baby Einstein, and I can't remember the other lady who was on there. And we were doing like Millionaire Moms or something weird like that was the name of the topic. And I was very nervous about just being called upon in the audience. And as she started the show with the guest who was on stage, who was supposed to only be talking to us in the audience, she stopped the show and she was like, where's that big teeth girl? And I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. I really hope she's not talking about me. And I was looking, and so here was this, coming to a crossroads where I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to say no to Oprah? Like, she's like, come up here. And I'm like, no, that's good. No, that's okay. I was like, oh my goodness. And I was petrified, right? And I was like, well, one, she called me Big Teeth Girl. And two, now I'm sitting on stage. So one place they said I didn't have to be. And we had a glorious conversation. And she gave me some of the most impactful pieces of advice of my life that I keep in practice today. But I needed to be ready. And so when I say about being ready was prior to that moment, I was practicing being uncomfortable. And so what I was doing every day was I was doing something that made me uncomfortable, and I did it anyway. Same thing, too, with this word that I've had all this year. And again, Patricia, some of you guys have watched me show up in vulnerability this year. And boy, when I picked the word vulnerability, I did not realize what God had in store for me. Like, he was not kidding. And so practicing small things every single day and having the trusted circle, right? People who lean in say, think you did a really good job, Amilya, but you could have been more vulnerable. And I'll be like, oh, there's more I can do. More, go farther, more, right? And so these opportunities of practice sets you up for when the door opens. No different when she was like, bring on Big Teeth Girl. And I was like, okay, here's that moment. Do I just lean in? And because I was practicing little tiny moments of that, I was able to actually take the stage. And then you can look at YouTube and see whether I did a good job or not. But I must have done a good enough job because I came back several times afterwards and was part of Oprah's closing show, which I thought was one of the biggest compliments to my work, was that I made it all the way through those 20 years being an active contributor. Now, I was very shy at the time, right? So when I started and there was other opportunities to do things on other upper projects, I wasn't ready. I was shy. I was like, oh, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want my own show. No, I don't want any of those things, right? I like being a sidekick, not the main character. And so it's taken me a long time to get comfortable in being uncomfortable. That's why I try to be as authentic as possible when people say, oh my gosh, you're so good on stage, and I just saw you and Kelly Clarkson and whatever, and you're such a great front person. I'm like, oh, no, hold, let's speak truth here. I am not comfortable. What you see is not Amilya comfortable. Amilya is uncomfortable, but I hold on to the fact that I believe that the behavior tools that I share with you is beneficial. the stuff we were talking about this morning for parenting, I think it's beneficial for somebody. So I am willing to get uncomfortable so that you can be more comfortable in your choices. That's my gift to you, is my uncomfortableness. And I try to be vulnerable with it each and every day when I move into the land of the abyss and fall down and get up. I always say I'm a girl who's practicing.
Question. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm trying to
I feel
read
like
the
people
back
go.
chat too. So I'm reading the back chat too. So if you guys have questions on the side.
And I really do. I very much want to hear what other people say to this. Okay, so here is something that. So I think there's a difference between doing the ask and taking advantage. I'm always worried I'm going to be viewed as taking advantage. For example, I called Stedman, who takes my phone calls, who knows me.
Yep.
I got his address to send him the book. Stedman has been a huge influence on me. I have people ask me, well, have you used Stedman to get to Oprah? I won't do it. Because to me, Stedman is my man. He has taught me. He just takes my phone calls. I don't ever want Stedman Graham to feel like I'm not Team Stedman, that I have used him to get to Oprah because that's his life. It happens to him all the time. And I refuse to be that person. And I will not make that ask. If I find out Oprah is in Naples, Florida, I will make that ask.
Right. Well,
that's a different scenario.
It's totally different. So here is the alignment, right, of who you are and why you're here, right? And this is where people get confused about an ask. Asking has to be tied with what is the purpose. Asking just to be part of something with Oprah has no purpose, has no peace. But being able to ask because there's an alignment between some project she's working on and your life work, now synergistically that makes sense. And so the craft on your part is because you have a relationship with Stedman and you highlight your passion, why you're here, and your purpose, and he now experiences what your craft is. You trust he is a smart enough individual that he will make the own connection between a project she's working on and what you're actually doing. So having faith on your circle. I don't have to go out and ask somebody to do something. What I do is I demonstrate my area of expertise, and I honestly show, and through vulnerability, things I'm interested in, right? To say, okay, I would be really interested in a project that works with our veterans. I would be really interested in working with a project that has to do with recovery. I would really be interested in a project that has to do with suicide awareness. I'm letting people who are listening to me right now things I'm interested in. So now, because I've said this is what I'm interested in, that's not an ask. That's me sharing that I believe my life work will impact those three categories, right? We've talked about the fact that we dropped our course into colleges. Well, the reason why we did that is Patricia and I are extremely passionate about putting life skills back into our young people. And so when we do that, other people can say, hey, listen, I'm aware of a project, or I'm working on a project, and now I think that there's synergy between what you just said. And so it's an art to be able to lean closer to what those alignments are. Sometimes, because the person you're talking to is so overwhelmed or spread thin, you have to actually do an ask. And again, if you don't practice those asks close to the chest, they're very difficult to do when you feel like you are uncomfortable. So asking for things like, I say in my household all the time, I'm a better Amilya if I go to bed by 11. I'm a better human if I do that. So I ask the people around me to not tempt me with late night activity, because what's best for me is if I go to bed. So I'm asking for them to support my self-care, right? I'm asking, right, for certain things, right, that are part of it. And so you practice those asks so that when you hear something, that's going on. Like Grant was just talking, he was just so kindly jumped into in the room, right? I asked him, do you think it would be beneficial if I attend this next event? And he was like, yes, and here's 10 reasons why, right? And so I had to be at a place where I felt comfortable in the ask, right? And then supporting the fact that his machine was phenomenal experience from a consumer. And I think that is what, I'm seeing in the back chat. People were like, give me an example of an ask. Start with the asks that are in your self bucket, the things that make you the best human. Ask for time and space for meditation. Ask for time for journaling. Ask for time for like your should and should not, right? Like I should not be yelling. I should not be yelling. And so if somebody is yelling at me, my ask is please lower your voice. Please lower your voice because you are going to trigger a part of Amilya that Amilya does not like. So I do not like me when I am yelling. So my ask is I need you to help me get to becoming the best version of me, right? Because my mother was a screamer, and I don't like that energy. And so when I get around people who scream at me, it triggers me, all my responsibility, all my work, it triggers me back into my childhood, right? And so that's what I mean by ask. Start with small asks, and then you get more comfortable with that person for bigger asks. But I will tell you the art of digital currency. It is challenging when people go into my DMs and ask for my mentorship, or they ask for 5 minutes of my time, or they ask for something. And then the first thing that I look at is, have you bought the book? No. Do you follow me? No. Have you ever commented? No. So you have not earned the digital currency for me to exchange something with you. If you are looking to ask of somebody, it must be first a gift. And the way you can give is with digital currency. It's free. It's absolutely free. So tee yourself up to earn that currency before you do the ask.
That's exactly where I was going to go next, and you brought it up. I am asked all the time. I love to say yes. I hate saying no. I try to help everyone. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, I'm asked. I've been asked this week for things by somebody who has never clicked like, never clicked shared, never made a comment,
right.
and least of all spent 99 cents on an ebook, who've done literally nothing, but they continue to ask, and I, more often than not, still continue to say yes.
No.
I'm saying that on purpose. No. I'm letting you know.
I remember when you and I first met, and we had a nice little chit chat, and I promised you, I was so excited about you. I loved you and your husband. Oh my God, you guys are such a romantic story. Your baby dog is actually my boyfriend.
He's in the shot, actually. Can you see?
I can. And I said to you, I'm a lifer. I will be in your relationship for life. Right? And you're like, oh, Amilya, people come in my life and they say that all the time, and they actually do nothing for me. I do everything. And I'm like, this will be a new experience for you, Mr. Randy, because I'm a giver and I'm a lover. And I was like, I'm going to love on you forever.
Yeah. And you do.
Yeah.
And you do. But no, that's exactly what I was going to ask. And again, I always bring all this stuff up because I know I'm not alone. I know that there are so many other people in this room that are resonating with all of this stuff. Self-promotion, asking, not to ask, you know.
Yeah, Jason in the back chat was like, what is the self-fund, right? So I personally believe that there's 5 areas of focus in your life. And I believe that the first area of focus.
Hey, Amilya, before you jump onto that, could we do a reset? Because it's bottom of the hour. Now, I don't want to interrupt your flow in the middle of it. So I just want to, again, do a quick reset because we still only have 83 people in the room or 75 or so.
That stupid link is not working.
I know. We're not getting the attention that we should here on Clubhouse. So just remind everyone to please share this room on Clubhouse. Hit the little button, the little square at the bottom of the screen, and share this room to Clubhouse to wake up the algorithm. As a matter of fact, also everybody on stage right now, flash your mics because that also helps with the algorithm to wake it up. So let's share this room, let's flash our mics, and let's ping people in individually that we know could and should be in here. Because, by the way, Randy is not the only one that's obsessing perhaps about himself, overthinking, or whatever it is. We're talking about obsession today, and this, of course, is the new and improved Amelia and Randy show. So let's make sure that we're bringing people into this conversation. And if you're watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, please feel free to share this video as well. And by the way, you can make comments and ask questions on there as well. We will see them and we'll be able to get to them. Continue answering your questions and making your comments here in the chat. And with that, we appreciate you being here. And make sure, by the way, click on the link above and order Randy's book for only 99 cents and share some of that digital currency. Follow Randy here and Amelia and me as well. Follow us on here on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Follow us everywhere because, again, sharing that digital currency is everything. And Randy, start learning to say no. The power of no is incredible. So with that,
I've gotten better at it. I have. I actually have. It is. I'm very good friends with Aaron Brockovich. And the one thing people ask me about Aaron, I don't actually make a major maneuver in my life to talking to Amelia and Aaron. I really don't. I call up and say, what do you think about this? She has the inability to walk away from somebody in pain. And you can see that in the movie. You can see it. She can't do it, which I personally think is difficult, probably makes her life more difficult because she just really can't walk away from it. And it is I had someone who I finally wrote off, and I said, I cannot deal with this person anymore. And sure enough, they had moved out of town, and I got a phone call about the death of a dog and left a message. I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Even Derek said, okay, the dog died. And I called back, and I was there for her. And even though she had been such a challenge for me, I still felt good that I was there for somebody in a moment of personal crisis. I don't think that ever feels bad. But this was somebody who truly had a real history of using. And I had to walk away from that relationship. And Amelia, you and I have talked about this so much, and I have walked away from that relationship from the time we met.
Yes, because I have an ability. I have an ability to have an impact. And listen, so this is very similar. So a lesson that I just had to teach my daughter, right? And so for those people who've been following along, my kid's father committed suicide. And it's been a huge list to move them through the life skills that are required when somebody makes that type of decision, especially when that person is a parent. And in so doing so, it was interesting to see who showed up for us during that time, from the funeral to just support and so on and so forth. Well, not literally 2 weeks after Anthony passed, one of our close friends who did not serve us well, father passed away. And his first reaction was, well, they didn't come to our funeral, so we're not going to theirs, which is that's a very logical train of thought. And I was like, Lucia, it's not about tit for tat. It never is tit for tat. What it is about, what type of human you want to be, so that you're doing something because of who you want to be, right? And so we went to the funeral because it was the right thing to do for who we want to be as individuals. Same thing for you, for Randy, right? You showed up with her not because she's a good friend, because she is not. You showed up because it was the right thing to do.
And it was.
And with healthy boundaries, then pulled back, right? I did the same thing. I showed up at the funeral and I said, listen, I am not happy with how you have showed up in my life. However, who I am is I am showing up to pay proper respect, and then I'm removing myself once again because you have not earned your way to me. When you earn your way, I am happy to gift you, Amelia. But if you have not earned Amelia, then you only get to watch from the sideline. And I hold those boundaries hard and tight, hard and tight. But what I needed to do for my daughter is not to be able to say, I'm going to treat other people the way they treat me. No, you treat people the way your value system and how you want to show up in the world, regardless on how they treat you.
But doesn't that put me back in the situation of saying yes too often?
No, because you should be saying yes to the areas, to the 5 areas that you have identified are where you want to become your future self. So your future self is going to amplify these 5 areas. You say yes to things that amplify those 5 areas, and no, not now, or I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me, for things that don't. You're still in the thinking of tit for tat, right? Instead of saying, these are the things that I'm working on, and what you're sharing falls in alignment with what I'm working on, therefore the answer is yes, right? It's not contingent on the person, it's contingent on the future of who you are becoming. And so my yes and no's are not about the people, it's about my overall intentional purpose on the world.
Can you give me an example of a 5 thing?
If I can pour into that before she does that, it's oftentimes I have this conversation with people. By the way, who's Tat and why is he getting all the tea? Never mind. But the reality of it is, there's only so many yeses that we all have throughout the day because we've only got but so many hours in the day. And oftentimes we give too many yeses to things that don't really matter. And I want you to remember this, Randy. The more yeses you give to things that don't matter, the more no's you have to give to the things that really do.
Okay, and that makes sense to me. Yes, it does.
And I say we have been taught as a society, right, as a whole, all of us, to give the best of us to things that have really don't matter at all. And then we give the leftovers to the things that are so important to us. We give leftovers to our kids. We give leftovers to our intimate partner. We give leftovers, right, to the things that are so close to us instead of giving the best version, right? And so when you do the practice, right, Designing Genius is about a practice. I pour into 5 buckets every day consistently. It is mathematically impossible for those buckets not to grow. It's impossible. And then after I have poured into what I have said, these are the intentions in my life, then what I have after, then I can give to other things. But I only give the best of Amilya to those 5 areas. The other things get left over. Now, as you earn your way closer to me, you will find your way into one of those 5 areas. If you don't earn your way, that's not on me. That's on you. That's on you. That's a you problem, not an Amilya problem.
And I'm going to put this in other words, because you said it and I've heard it this way, and it really lands this way. Oftentimes we give the best of us to the things that don't matter, and our family and those who really matter, and our loved ones, get the rest of us.
Leftovers. Yeah.
I got to tell you, and I'm going to have a discussion with Mr. Man tonight. Derek is getting some leftovers. Yeah, he's getting some leftovers.
Yep.
Alexander is not. Alexander the dog. He's kissed on the lips. He is getting kibbles and bits. There are no real rules while Derek is gone. The dog runs wild. Yeah, I really, that's resonating a lot with me.
And you know what? You're turning 60 next week, right?
Right.
And so for your 60th year, what would be a beautiful gift to give, right, is to say, here's something that I'm aware I could be doing differently, and here's what I'm going to do differently to serve our intimate relationship. How does that sound to you? Because Derek is an interesting character. What you think he wants is not what he wants, and what he does want, you would never think that that's what he wants. So when you're going to give a gift to somebody, I have a tendency to want to give what I want to give, not what they actually want to receive. And so he's one of those quiet, mysterious type of men that you have to say, this is what I think I'm going to do to serve us better, so that he can go, actually, I don't want any of that. I want this instead. So that you're then giving him what he actually considers valuable. That's why I call them the value drivers in your relationship.
Okay, I mean, I need to stop giving him so many leftovers, but then again, he gives me leftovers. Because here is a man who goes to work at the hospital. I mean, God bless him. He worked in a hospital and did every day throughout COVID, and was there, not frontline, but, working in the administrative side. But I'm still proud of him for having done that. But he is Mr. Personality and Mr. Fun and Mr. Charming and Mr. Gregarious. So 10 hours later, when he gets home, there's nothing left to give. He's exhausted.
Yeah, but you get to see that intimate side of him that nobody else does. You know what I'm saying? He's softer and more, I don't even know what the word is, than his charismatic self. Like Mr. Razmadaz isn't emotionally available. But when it's just the two of you guys are so cute together. You guys are so in sync with each other.
And by the way, that's when you get to pour into him, Randy. And that's when he needs you to pour into him. And then that way you get to fill his cup. So that way on the days that he doesn't go to work and you need a little something, you get it from him or he gives it to you.
When I need a little something, okay.
All right. Well, that too. We were, you did say kibbles and bits before.
Wow. If anybody's getting something here, I'm on the camera. I'm something. I need something.
And you have to know how much Derek hates. Okay, he hates being talked about. That's another thing about the people who don't like the focus. He doesn't like to hate. Derek and I'll tell the story real quickly because it's just so brilliant, Derek. We were invited to today. When it was time, it was Kathy Lee and Hoda. You know the story. We were invited there because Hoda invited us. I interviewed her for my book. She said, when you come to New York, I said, 2 weeks. We went. We go on the show. We make it to 10:59 with no incident and everything. What happens in Hoda calls us up on stage to during a commercial break. There's 3 benches pushed together to make a semicircle. You see it on today's show. There's other 4 people up there. Hoda and Kathy Lee are there. She's calling us up there on the 10, 9, 8. They're coming out of commercial. I rush in because this is me, national TV. Derek follows me. I swivel. I count 5, 4, 3. I throw myself at the bench. It's on wheels. I careening to I swear to God, it's slow motion, y'all. When this step happens and you see the big camera and there's millions of people there, it all goes slow motion. It comes, and I am floating to the back wall, like just my arms up in the air and everything. Derek doesn't know. He hits the ground and we are live. This man falls on his butt on live TV. We are live, and Kathy Lee and her are like, man down. Are everything okay? And Derek is, and I'm in the back. Hoda's retired assistant Kathy will still on every time that picture comes up on Facebook go, you laughed at that man. You laughed at him on the ground. I was like, what am I supposed to do? He's on the ground, and Derek blames my butt. I go outside. When we're done, because they said, oh, I don't think, we don't even think that part was on TV. We don't even think,
Yes, it was.
pictures of they're taking pictures of the screen at home. They're taking the pictures of the screen and posting it all over Facebook with #man down. So we know, obviously, it made TV. We're outside. He's perfectly calm. And I'm like, do you know what happened? Are you blocking this out? What's happening? Derek, Mr. Funny, Mr. Calm, Mr. Charisma, says to me, it's not like I'm Steve Harvey and I just announced the wrong winner of Miss Universe.
Hey. That was a pivotal point in my career. Hey. Wait a minute. Yes.
Just an amazing. I want to be him when I grow up. I would still be in therapy, and this happened like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
He just was fine. Now, when I retell the story, he's not so keen being in the room because, of course, that comes with visuals, and I act it out, and I have the photo and all that kind of stuff. He's not so keen on being there when it's retold. But yeah,
but part of his calm consistency is part of the reason why you love him, right?
Oh.
And so your personality is more fire, and his personality is a little bit more earth, right?
Well,
and so that's a very good. Because 2 fire signs together, not a good idea. Not right. It's called an inferno, and you burn shit down. And so that's not. So the opposite of elements is really, really important when you're trying to do a pairing, and that's not just a romantic pairing. That's when you're trying to do a business pairing as well, right? I love when I go into a management team and I do a quick analysis, right, from a behavior standpoint, and there's so much fire within the C-suite, and they wonder why nobody supports each other, they blow each other up. I'm like, because the wrong element. It's a dance of the different elements that create the outcome that you want. That's why if you study back in time, right, Eastern and Western philosophies, that's why each element has its purpose, right? But you can't put all of the elements together, right, because then you create chaos. And so it's the balance of elements that creates beauty. And if you want to dig a little bit there, look at the laws of nature, right? The laws of nature utilizes the different elements to create a beautiful outcome. And the elements have a silent agreement of how they interact, right? So wood doesn't try to be fire, fire doesn't try to be water, water doesn't try to be air, right? They respect each other for their blessings and their curse within the elements themselves. And so with you and Derek, you guys are complementary elements, right, that make yourself more powerful together than you are apart. And just for those people who are listening, I've done an analysis on both of them, so I know what I'm actually talking about this beauty.
It was. You figured him out better in 24 hours than I had.
I love when people.
No, you
I love when you tell me that.
You blew him away with the assessment you made of us. He was like, well, yeah. I mean, I actually felt that poor man felt understood for the first time in his entire life.
It's one of my greatest joys as a behaviorist when I can work with couples to show them why something works and why an area is having difficulty. And then my best is to give them the behavior modifications that move them through the differences. Because the goal is not to make you me or me you. That's why I don't like that. That whole theory is nonsense to me. It's about me understanding that where you differ shines brighter back on what I am not, right? Where you excel, I don't. But that light can be part of my life without me having to become that light. And understanding that dynamic within the dance of couples and intimacy is what allows a couple to actually grow.
The thing I found that I have learned now that I'm 60 and I'm not. But,
where's the older and dirt sign? I need the dirt sign.
Oh, I'm older than dirt. I got the dirt sign. Dirt. No, I am dirt. I'm not even older than dirt. I am dirt.
I have a shirt that says older than dirt. I have a shirt that actually says older than dirt.
What I find fascinating that I'm so proud of, and I really encourage people to look for this, long-term relationships, we're 27 years this year. And I believe you have the choice, and I'm curious to hear what you say, to embrace the differences and enjoy them, or let them drive you crazy.
Yep.
And we embrace the differences, kind of make fun of them, enjoy them. My mom was a challenge, and my dad was the funniest, they say I married my father. I married that personality type. I married the quiet, funny person. My dad is quiet and funny and just, but in Derek, that's exactly what the person I ended up being with. But my mom was the challenge. But let me tell you, even when she had Alzheimer's and he was taking care of her, he could make her giggle.
Oh, yeah. There's something magic about somebody who can make you laugh, especially if they can make you laugh about yourself.
Oh, they were 65 years when she died, and he's 91 and still alive.
That was my grandparents. My grandparents had one of the greatest love stories of all time. My grandparents and my aunt, and my uncle had one of those love stories. But I have to remind people they worked at it. They worked at it, and they were very, very clear on their priorities. Their number one priority was themselves, and their relationship was the gift that they gave us kids. But we knew as children, and there was a flock of us, right? We knew as children we were never getting in that first position. That was reserved for them. And when I pushed my boundaries, right, when I pushed upon trying to get to be my dad's number one or my mother's number one, they clearly informed me to move back into my lane, right? Because they were like, you're not talking to your mother that way, are you? Like, or you didn't just, they had hard boundaries on the unit, right, with them. And then we all stood upon that strong foundation. Same thing with my grandparents. You could not come in. My grandparents are the one who taught me about the two-handed circle, right? And that changed my perspective more and more as I get older. A two-handed circle. And they literally showed us, right? So there's 11 boys and me. And they actually would grab each other's hand, right? The two-handed circle. And my grandfather said to me very clearly, you guys can be as tight as you want around us, but you can never get within. This is reserved for your grandmother and I. That was their circle. and we were the first ring around them as a tree, and then the next ring and the next ring.
Aw.
And it was so beautiful because even after he passed away, my grandmother slept with his dancing shoe. And she said, and he will come and dance me to heaven because we have a two-handed circle. Yeah. They loved each other. Loved, loved, loved. Even though they also bickered. But the bickerness was in their romantic banter, right? They bantered amongst themselves, which I realize now as I'm older was their foreplay, right? But as a kid, we just heard the little bickering, right? And the bickering was their way. And she said when she died, he said, the thing that I miss most about your grandfather was that banter,
I tell you, I'm so grateful that we sort of came upon that, because I think that's when you realize you're going to make it or you're not. And we just sort of naturally fell into, because we could have been, we fought, we butted heads and stuff like that, but just over time, it wasn't worth it, because you're not going to people, and you might as well try to enjoy those differences. He makes me laugh all the time. I dare say I can make him laugh occasionally too. But I'm just so grateful that we got there. And I just encourage people who may be going through a situation where they're in a long, long-term relationship, can you shift it over into enjoyment?
I love this. Dr. Laura says in the back chat, marry for money and you will pay for that later. I love that.
Well, Dr. Laura, I most certainly didn't do that. So.
Yeah, Dr. Laura always has some great quips.
Oh my God, what a great quip, right? Yeah, you'll pay for it now, you pay for it later. One way or later, you will pay for that poor decision.
Yeah, Eric is taking me out. He's taking me out because my birthday's on Tuesday. I'm going to La Playa for lunch tomorrow on the beach in Naples. So he's taking me out for a nice lunch on the beach. And yeah.
That is so romantic.
Oh, yeah. Actually, this is my last show with you in my 50s.
Oh, my God, that's right. This is the last. Oh, my gosh. So you have to have a really cool obsession for next week.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm still here.
And we're not talking about your AARP membership.
Oh, I've had that for a while. Oh, no, and I'm all about, let me tell you, the discounts, especially at the movie theaters. Movies are so expensive now. We're all about discounts. So, again, though, thank you. They got the link up. Ruby Magic Comes from the Heart. I am going to self-promote it. I love this book. It is an extension. It is really taking so many of the principles I've learned through my interviews and putting them into a book that's fiction. 99 cents for an ebook on Amazon pre-sale.
I love that everybody in your life is somehow influencing those characters.
Oh, no, you know that they're all named after people.
That's funny.
No, the leading man in Ruby, his name is Derek Wakefield. My husband's name is Derek Wakefield. No, I mean, I literally, almost every single character is literally a name taken from someone I know who influenced it. Cynthia, that she's actually, Ruby is one character. Cynthia, the main character, though, is inspired by Cynthia Rhodes from Dirty Dancing, which a lot of people are shocked to hear. Not her story. I got lucky. I got to interview her and spend time with her. She left everything after Dirty Dancing to raise kids, and I honor that, and I'm a supporter for that. She hadn't done an interview.
And Michael Nouri is one of my dearest friends.
Well, and let me
that man.
I'll tell you right now, if and when a movie is done of Ruby, Michael Nouri should play Derek Wakefield. I'm dead serious.
Oh, he is.
Michael Nouri should play Derek Wakefield. I know that.
He is one of those people in my life that absolutely is just pure joy. Pure joy. I've never had to ask him to show up.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
I've never had to ask him to show up. He shows up in my life all the time when I need him most.
Yeah.
Like even when the whole thing happened with Anthony, like
yeah.
he flew here because he said I physically want to lay eyes on you to know that you're okay.
Yep. Well, I just hope that when we do these Randy therapy sessions, the goal is always that you apply it, that people listening have the opportunity to apply this, because I know I'm not alone.
I think that the glorious things about the hours that we do together here is it gives people an opportunity to come to actually chit chat and maybe hear a different perspective or another way to approach it, right? I always try to approach this hour to say, as your behaviorist, let me share with you another approach. It doesn't mean right or wrong. It gives you options. And then you try on the different approaches to see what works for you. And what I love more than anything else is that when I hear back from people about, hey, I listened to what you said, I tried it, and you won't believe what happened, right? That gives me such joy knowing that the behavior modifications that I share are working for you all.
Yep.
Well,
So
Amilya and Randy, what a great hour we had again. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's joined us and remind everybody to be here again next week. Again, remember, 9 to 11. It's Coffee and Clubhouse with Amilya and Tony. And then, of course, again at 11 to 12, the all new and improved Amilya and Randy show. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. I'm going to kick it back to you, Amilya, to pass it off to the social